सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे। ओम श्री हयग्रीवाय नमः। ओम श्री वल्लभा समेत श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः। We were the Nirvishesha Atma Nirupanam. As part of that, Ramanuja Abhyupakata Savisheshatva Nirakaranam. That's what we are doing now. Whatever Savisheshatvam, the qualifiedness of all the entities which Ramanuja is propounding, that we are negating now. So in this context, we saw that in the Shruta Prakashika, the author of the Shruta Prakashika is saying that the dharmi is savishesha due to the dharma, and the dharma is savishesha due to the dharmi. So they actually accept the anyonya ashrayatvam. So this anyonya ashraya is there, and they say that if you say that there has to be a third independent entity to support this anyonya ashraya, there is nothing like that. In fact, you cannot have any entity without a visheshana or a qualification or a quality. Okay, all entities must have qualities like this. That is their siddhanta. In fact, they can also get away from the anyonya ashraya in one way. See, by saying that it is anadi. That means the sambandha, although we are asking for the sambandha, which one came first, you cannot say because it is anadi, one can say. That is one way of getting out of anyonya ashrayatvam. But anyway, so here, what we are trying to prove is this savisheshatvam has been negated by the Shruti, Smriti, all our Shastra, correct? And also in general, savisheshatvam cannot be established by saying that it is in a savishesha vastu. The vishesha itself is there in a savishesha vastu, like that, whatever they are saying, it is meaningless. It leads to all sorts of logical fallacies. So that is what we are establishing here. In this context, we said that if you say that this dharma and dharmi are mutually dependent, that means even from a knowledge standpoint, one has to first know the dharma to say that some dharmi is there, correct? For example, danda. So danda yuda pani is there in Parani, our famous Parani Murugan. Now, first you have to know what is danda, the stick or a cane, whatever, correct? Walking stick kind of a thing. And then the one who has that danda is the dandapani. One who holds it in his hand is called dandapani. So like this, the dharma and dharmi, if you are talking about, you should have dharma jnanam, you should have dharmic jnanam, and both are dependent on each other, correct? Now this dharma jnanam and dharmic jnanam, which one comes first? Because they are saying this is dependent on that, that is dependent on this. But actually speaking, you should have the knowledge of both. And again, when the knowledge takes place also, first you should know the dharma, and then whatever is having that dharma is the dharmi, like this if we say, then how can the dharmi then qualify the dharma as savishesha? All these questions are coming. Which is known first, which is known second? And based on that only you can say whether something is savishesha or nirvishesha. If you say dharma is known first, for one to understand a dharmi, then the dharma itself cannot become savishesha because of the dharmi, correct? Because you are not even knowing the dharmi when you know the dharma first. So like this, all these problems are there. That is what he pointed out here. The last sentence we saw, kincha dharme jnate sati eva etat dharmavan ayam iti dharmik jnanam jayate. So either you have to say that first you know the dharma, and having known the dharma only, this dharma is there in this dharmi, so the dharmic jnanam also is there. So if this dharma is there in this dharmi, like this, the dharmic jnanam can be born. Or if you say the dharma itself becomes avishesha by dharmi, then you have to say the dharmi jnate sati. By knowing the dharmi alone, in this dharmi, this dharma is there, and therefore the dharma jnanam has to be born later. Okay, but you cannot say both. All this knowledge is happening at the same time. Any one has to happen first, and the other has to happen next. Means it's only one way, correct? You cannot make it mutually dependent. There is a problem in that. The Anyonya Ashraya itself cannot be established because the knowledge happens in a certain form, correct? Either you have to say first dharma is known, and then from there you say this dharmi is having this dharma, or you have to say dharmi is known first, and in that dharmi this dharma is there. Whichever way you say, it is only one way, the dependency. But if you say that this makes that into Savishesha and that makes this as Savishesha, this Anyonya Ashraya also is there, and then it also cannot be established, cognized. There is a problem of cognition also here. Okay, not only a logical fallacy. So based on all these things, Nirdharmaka Vastu Siddhihi, he says, because the Nirdharmaka Vastu has to be there. Then only on that, then you can say both Dharmi and Dharma are known. Because if there is no Vastu to be an Ashraya, correct, to support both the Dharmi and Dharma, there has to be a Vastu, an entity which is independent of both of them. Then this is possible. Okay, both of them can be known together, you can say. Otherwise, there is also a problem of how do you cognize that something is a dharmi or something is a dharma, that too as a savishesha dharmi or savishesha dharma, that becomes a problem for them. Now, further, apicha dharmatvam dharmitvam va kim bhava padarthe vartate uta abhava padarthe. So, this dharmatvam and dharmitvam, is it there in a bhava padartha or a abhava padartha? So this is the next question which is being asked here. So you have to say, you cannot say it is in abhava padartha anyway. Okay. So he now points out with whatever they say, according to them, they will have a problem. Okay. Because let us say the dharmatvam and dharmitvam is there in the bhava padartha. That is the first option, correct? Adye siddhameva kasyapi adharma bhutam adharmi bhutam cha abhava rupam vastu. Okay, if you say that dharmatvam and dharmitvam are there in an existing entity, now that existing entity itself should be something which is not a dharmi nor a dharma. Correct? It is neither a quality nor the qualified. It has to be like that, and in such a vastu only it can be there. But then they don't accept such a vastu. Then it will become for them that vastu itself is only abhava rupam, because they don't accept any entity which does not have dharmitvam or dharmatvam. So kasyapi adharma bhutam adharmi bhutam cha abhava rupam vastu siddham. It will become like that for them. If they take the first option that dharmitvam and dharmatvam are there in a third entity which is a bhava padartha, but even then they cannot establish it as bhava, because they don't accept any entity which is devoid of dharmitvam and dharmatvam. Then second one means if it is an abhava, if you say, then abhava means here we take it as tucha, basically some unholy compound like shashashringa. So shashashringado api dharmatva dharmitve bhavetam. Then it will become like even a shashashringa will be having dharmatvam and dharmitvam. Like this, it will become. So both options are a problem for them. But then the Purva Pakshi comes back now. He says, no, no, we don't have any problem. We say that the dharma and dharmi are mutually dependent. Dharmi makes the dharma as a savishesha, and dharma makes the dharmi savishesha, and both of them are cognized, and there is no, we don't even accept any bhava rupa vastu, which is divide of dharma and dharmi. So he says, nacha kasyachit dharma bhutam dharmi bhutam va yenna bhavati tadrisham bhava rupam vastu nasti iti asmabhihi uchyate iti vachyam. So kasyachit dharma bhutam dharmi bhutam va yenna bhavati. So that which is neither a dharma or a dharmi, tadrisham, like that, an existing entity, bhava rupam vastu nasti. There is nothing like that. Iti asmabhihi uchyate. We say that there is no existing entity which is either a dharmi or a dharma. All existing entities are either a dharma or a dharmi, and they make each other savishesha. They qualify each other like this, they say. But even that you cannot say. Na vachyam. Why? Svam tadrisham vastu nasti ite ajñatva vadasi uta jnatva. So this is a problem. See, whenever you talk about abhava, then there is no real abhava. Understand that? So when he is saying this, there is no vastu like this. How do you know that? By by knowing it is not there, are you saying? Or without knowing only, are you saying? No, if you say I'm saying it without knowing, then how can I even take your word for it? Correct. So he says, Adye katham ajñasya tava vachanam grahyam. So how can we accept if you say that you are saying such a vastu is not at all there without knowing? Then Vidya, if you say I say it after knowing it, then also it is asiddhi only because it is there. How can you say it is not there? So then they have to say what? See, any abhava can be only talked about with Pratiyogi Jnanam. This, in fact, he'll be talking about that now. So unless you know about something, you cannot say it is not there somewhere. Correct? Its non-existence also cannot be talked about unless you know about it. So that's what he's going to point out now. In fact, the Purva Pakshi comes back and now says, what does he say? He says, Nacha tadrisha vastu abhavam jnatva pravimi aham iti vachyam. So you cannot say. So he says, no, no, I know the non-existence of such a vastu or absence of such a vastu. Knowing only I am saying. Again, if the Purva Pakshi is saying like this, what does our author says? Now he'll bring it. See, he says, Kim tadrisha vastu naha satve toya tad abhavaha jnate uta asatve. So now he is asking the same question differently. Okay. So you are saying, I know the absence of such a vastu. Knowing the absence of such a vastu only, I am telling you that. Now, to say the absence of something, also you should either know it as existing or not existing somewhere, correct? Only by first knowing it, the existence of something, you can say it is not existing somewhere. So are you saying it by knowing whether it exists or by knowing it does not exist? Okay, so the sattva, based on the existence, now he is asking the question. First question was based on the knowledge. Now it is based on whether it is existing or not existing, he is asking. Now if you say, I am telling it is not there by knowing its existence, correct? Adye katam tat satve tadabhavaha. If you say it is existing, then how can you say it is not there? In the second case, Vidya also, if you say it is not existing, then you have to talk about the Pratiyogi and Anuyogi, correct? Anuyogi is the locus where something is not there. Pratiyogi is the vastu, the actual entity. So he is now saying abhava jnanasya pratiyogi purvakatva niyamat katham tadrisha vastu jnanam vina tava tad abhava jnanam. Okay, so Without knowing such a vastu, there is no pratiyogi. Correct? See, this is the same problem with the ajnana also. See, when they say ajnana is pure jnana abhava, unless you have jnanam, you cannot talk about jnana abhava. Correct? This is a very basic thing. And even this, some people are not able to understand. That's why Bhashyakara and Vartikakara, everybody say that abhava is jnana virodhi. It cannot be jnana abhava. And even Sureshwara goes to the extent of saying you have to read it as like amitra or adharma and all these words. Correct? Amitra is not a mitra abhava. Amitra means somebody who is an enemy to you is amitra. Correct? It is not mitra abhava. Or adharma is not dharma abhava. It is the opposite of dharma virodhi. Correct? So like this, uh, for talking about abhava, jnanam, some already you should have some idea about it. At least some idea, some kind of knowledge about something you should have. Without that, abhava itself cannot be talked about. Without the pratiyogi jnanam, what is it that is not there here? You should have some idea about it, correct? And where it is not there, anuyogi also. That's why any abhava ends with bhava swarupa only because actually the anuyogi is still there, correct? Every abhava points to the anuyogi, means some locus only you are pointing out actually. That is actually bhava rupa again. So that's why in the Siddhanta we do not accept any abhava at all, whether it is prak abhava, because the Nayayika talks about 4 types of abhava and all that. So none of those abhavas we really accept. Okay. So everything actually ends up only in some bhava vastu, bhava rupatvam will come. So anyway, here we are asking him this question. The pratiyogi purvakatva niyama is there. So without knowing that nirvishesha vastu already, you cannot say that it is not there. So tadrisha vastu jnanam vina tava katam tad abhava jnanam. So for you, how can you have the abhava jnana? The absence, the knowledge of absence also depends on the knowledge of that entity itself already. Okay. Tadrisha eva tadrisha vastuna eva asatve katam va tadrisha vastu jnanam iti. So this, if you say such a vastu is never there, then you cannot even talk about its abhava also. Okay, because the pratiyogi jnanam itself is not there, and therefore you cannot talk about the abhava. Therefore, further what apicha kasyachid adharma bhutam adharmi bhutam va vastu nasti iti kim tvam swayameva brushe uta pramanam avalambya. Okay, further what? See, you are saying there is no vastu which is either a dharmi or dharma. Correct? All entities have to be either a qualified entity or a qualification or a quality itself. Without being a qualified or without being a quality, there is no entity. Now, are you saying it by yourself? Swayameva brushe, uta pramanam avalambya are based on a means of knowledge, a pramana. Now, adye brahma pramadadi dosha dushita pum visheshasya tava vakyam agrahyameva. No, if you say I am saying it, so you have to accept something like that. Then Purusha Purusha Vakyas we don't accept just like that. Why? Purusha Vakyas can have a lot of defects like Brahma, erroneous cognition, Pramada. Pramada means basically you are not alert enough. When you are not alert, you can perceive something differently from its reality. And there are other doshas also normally talked about, like Ajnanam, Samshayam, Viparyayam, Apatukaranatvam, Vipralambatvam, like this. Many things are listed as Purusha dosha. So when there is this Paurushayam and Apaurushayam is discussed a lot by the Purvamimamsakas. So the Paurushaya Jnanam, the knowledge which you gain from a human being, from a human being's cognition, from which is originating from some other being, living being, can have all these problems. Correct? From a person, which has come from any person, can be based on pure ignorance, or it can be doubtful knowledge also. It can be based on doubtful knowledge, or it can be cognizing one thing as another, erroneous cognition, or it can be partial cognition because you are not alert enough, or sometimes you cannot understand certain things because you don't have the knowledge. The Unless you have certain previous knowledge, you cannot understand further about something. Correct? If you don't have certain expertise, you cannot understand certain things. Or you can have fallacious knowledge also. You think it is correct, but there are fallacies can be there. So all these things are there. Correct? There there are different types of defects, and so we cannot accept just because you say. Okay, pramada adidosha dushita vishesasya. So a person who is having all these defects, and from him if something comes, we are not ready to take. We don't consider you as a pramana. Okay, then what? Tvitiye kim tat pramanam bruhi. If you say no, no, I have know it from a pramana only. What is that pramana? Tell us. Okay, na vedantaha tatra asya adarshana. You cannot say I know it from the Vedanta. Correct? We accept Vedanta as a valid means of knowledge, but then the the Upanishads, they do not say whatever you are saying, that there is no nirvishesha vastu, or there cannot be any vastu which is neither a dharmi nor a dharma. It is not said in any Upanishad. In fact, the Upanishad says the other way around. Correct? We will see that. And cannot be Anumana also. Okay. So you cannot say it is based on Anumana, because uh, Anumana also can have lot of Hetu Abhasa and all we say. Correct? Anumana has to have proper, if only if the starting assumptions are correct, Anumana also can work properly. Anumana has to have a basis. So you first tell me what is the basis. Without any basis, you cannot do any Anumana. Understand? Anumana should be either based on Shruti or Pratyaksha. Anumana cannot be an independent means of knowledge. Understand that. So here Anumana also we cannot accept in this case, because unless you have a pratishtha, that is why tarkasya apratishthanaat, like that it is said. There is a sutra, naisha tarkena matirapaneya, and all Upanishad also says in the Kathopanishad. So tarka should be Shruti Sammata tarka. For that, Shruti has to support the tarka first. Tarka cannot be accepted as a means of knowledge independently. Is that clear? So uh, here we cannot accept the Anumana. Okay, na Anumanam tasya Purusha Buddhi Upajivyattvena Apramanatva. Because an Anumana which is based on your own assumptions. So Purusha Buddhi Upajivyattvena Apramanatva, we cannot accept, because you can make Anumana. In fact, one standard thing which is said normally is what? With Anumana you can prove anything. Why? Like for example, Vanhihi Anushnaha Dravyatvat Jalavat. Something like that you can say. Correct? See, fire is not hot because it is also a substance like water. Can you can you say an Anumana like that, which is going against Pratyaksha? Means you cannot. Always Pratyaksha and Shruti, they are the basis for us. The Anumana can never go against it, and it has to be based on either Shruti or Pratyaksha. Whatever Anumana you are giving based on your own Kapola Kalpita assumptions, we cannot accept. Then what? Na Pratyaksham. Kim tad vidvat pratyaksham uta avidvat pratyaksham. Okay, here again, if you say it is known by Pratyaksha itself, okay, by sensory perception, or generally perception. Here we can include Sakshi Pratyaksha also. Now, but we are asking another question here. What Kim tat Vidvat Pratyaksham? Is it the direct knowledge of wise people or ignorant people? Avidvat Pratyaksham. Na Adyaha. It cannot be Vidvat Pratyaksha. Whatever you are saying. Why? Tadrisha Vastunaha Vidvat Pratyakshatvat. In fact, all the wise people are saying that Brahmatma is Nirgunam, Nishkriyam, all these things, correct? So, whatever you are saying cannot be Vidvat Pratyaksha. And if you say it is based on Avidvat Pratyaksha, then again, how can we accept? So, na antyaha avidusham tad apratyakshepi tasya nihnetum ashakyatva. Ninhetum ashakyatva means you cannot deny or negate something based on ignorant people's cognition, correct? So, if you say we also accept that ignorant people do not cognize an entity which is neither a dharmi or a dharma, but that cannot be the basis for negating such an entity because ignorant people are having erroneous knowledge. In fact, that knowledge only has to be negated. Okay. Therefore, tasmat कस्यचित् अधर्म भूतम अधर्मी भूतम च निर्विशेष चिन्मात्रम वस्तु विदुषाम प्रत्यक्षमेव. So we have to now accept what there is some vastu, some entity. Kasyachit vastu is there, and what kind of vastu? Adharma bhutam, adharmi bhutam. It is neither a dharmi, neither it is qualified, nor it is a dharma, nor it is a quality, and it is nirvishesham. It is devoid of all qualities, and it is only chinmatram, consciousness alone. Such a vastu is known by the wise people as themselves, and one has to accept that you cannot negate the Vidvat Pratyaksha. And further, what? You cannot also say that, okay, how can I go only by Vidvat Pratyaksha? That is also Paurushaya, correct? If they put up an argument like this, then what? Don't worry, we have Shruti. Nacha nirvisheshe vastuni pramana bhavaha. You cannot say there is pramana bhava for this nirvishesha vastu. In fact, we are quoting your favorite Bhagavata. So he is now quoting Bhagavata here because basically he is talking about or negating Vaishnava Siddhanta. So he quotes a lot of Bhagavata in this book. So Savai Mama Ashesha Vishesha Maya Nishedha Nirvana Sukhanubhutihi iti Vyasa Vakyasya eva Pramanatva. So Vyasa has said, of course, Shruti also we can give a lot. Prapanchopashamam, Shantam Shivam, Advaitam. What more do you need? Adreshyam, Agrahyam, or even Mundakopanishad also says, correct? It is Ananuhu, Ahrasvam, Kadirgham, etc. So, like this, Nisheda Mukhena, by Nishedha only, Shruti is teaching by negating all qualities, all action, all divisions. Only the Atma is revealed as the partless whole, correct? It is partless whole, it is complete, it is Purna. It doesn't lack anything. That is how this Atma is revealed and it is yourself. So you cannot even objectify it. And you need not objectify it. So here, Savai Mama Ashesha Vishesha Maya Nisheda Nirvana Sukhanubhutihi. So I have the Nirvana Sukhanubhuti. Correct? The Jnani is claiming, I have this Anubhava. This is my own Jnanam. Correct? Direct knowledge. Here, Anubhuti means direct, clear knowledge. Okay, we don't even have to translate it as experience because experience always creates a problem. Okay. The word experience itself again creates a division of experienced and all that. So it's just say it is clear knowledge, direct clear knowledge is the Anubhuti. And what is that? Ashesha Maya Nisheda means this all the Ashesha Vishesha Maya Nisheda means Maya is the one which has all the Visheshas, correct? Any Visheshana, if you say, all of them are Maya only. They are all Mithya. They are all false. They have no reality. They are all Adhyastha. So by negating this Adhyastha Maya Visheshas, only I have now Nirvana, Sukha Anubhuti, that I know my Atma itself is Sukha Swarupa, is not only my wrong identification with Anatma, which is all Maya, which is Savishesha. Only due to the wrong identification with the Savishesha Anatma, I have Samsaritvam. By negating all that in Atma, then what? Sukhanubhuti, that is Nirvana, that is Moksha. So this is what Vyasa is saying. So we have Vyasa Vachana, and of course, Neti Neti iti Nisheda Vakyasya Vedantiyasya cha Sattva. Of course, so here he is quoting, I quoted some other things also, but Neti Neti, what else you need? Brihadaranyaka. So Neti Neti comes, in fact, here why it is doing two times. Neti Neti also, if you ask, you see there is a Murta Brahmana. So the Brihadaranyaka talks about Murta and Amurta. The entire Srishti can be categorized as either Murta or Amurta. The objective world is either with form or without form, or tangible, intangible, like that you can say, correct? Or you can say it is Karya, Karana. Karya is manifest, Karana is unmanifest, Vyakta and Avyakta, or Vyakrita, Avyakrita, differentiated, undifferentiated. All these are, so two categories are there, Murta, Amurta. And Brahman is neither. That's why two types, Neti, Neti. So if you have if you have negated all the things which have forms and all the formless also, whatever is left is the negator Swarupa alone, which is yourself. So that's how it is. It is revealing yourself. Okay. So Neti Neti iti Nisheda Vakyasya Vedantiyasya cha Sattva. So Vedanta is using this Nisheda Vakya and revealing to you, correct? And even Advaitam, when we say what? See, when we do this Nisheda also, you have to understand the Pratiyogi, Anuyogi and all is Pakka, it is there, correct? What is the Pratiyogi here? Pratiyogi is Dvaita. And Dvaita everybody knows. Every Ajnani knows Dvaita, correct? For in fact, to establish Dvaita as Satyam, you don't even have to do any Shastra Shravana Manana Nidhyasana. Shastra Adhyanam itself is useless. Because already people know that Dvaitam Satyam, like that only everybody thinks. Correct? Already they think they know that Dvaita is Satya. Then why should you do even Shastra Adhyayana? Shastra need not come and again establish that. That also is a problem. But what we are saying is Dvaita, which is known by everybody, is the Pratiyogi. And what is the Aniyogi? Brahman, Atma. Brahmatma is the Aniyogi. So in Brahman, there is no Dvaita. So when we say Advaita, even Advaita, how do we give the Vigraha? Na vidyate Dvaitam Yasmin. Correct? That is the Vigraha in which there is no duality, there is no multiplicity also. Correct? Duality means even multiplicity is gone along with that. So in which there is no duality. Na vidyate Dvaitam Yasmin Advaitam. So this Shantam Shivam Advaitam. And even in Brihadaranyaka also, it reveals as Advaita. Atma is Advaita. Okay. So this Advaita Vastu alone is revealed by the Shruti. So we have Pramana, we have Vyasavakya, Smriti, and Shruti also. Now they come back. Purvapakshi, interesting. What do they say? Nacha Maya Maya Katipaya Visheshanam Eva Nishedaha iti Vachyam. So they are saying, no, no, it does not negate everything. Only some Maya Maya Visheshas are negated by Vyasa and the Shruti. It is not complete negation of all Visheshas. Like this also you cannot say. Why? Na Vachyam. Sarva Nisheda Avadhitvat Brahmanaha. Okay, so when we say Brahman, how is Brahman revealed? By negating everything else only, correct? It is what which is left after negating everything. Because the negator can never be negated. That is the point here. And negator, Swarupa is Brahman only. That's how Brahman itself is revealed. Sarva Nisheda Avadhitva. So Avadhi means here that which is left out after negating everything. And Brahmani, Yadi, Yadyat Nishedhum Shakyam, Tasya Tasya, Sarvasyapi Nishedhe Krite Satyeva, Nisheda Avadhitva Siddhehe Brahmanaha. So he is explaining that Sarva Nisheda Avadhi means what? Yadyat Nishedhum Sakyam, whatever you can negate. Okay. All that, Tasya Tasya Sarvasyapi, all of that, Nishedhe Krite Sati, having negated all of them, then what? Nisheda Avadhitva Siddhehe Brahmanaha, for Brahman what? Then whatever is now left after negating whatever can be negated, that is only the negator, correct? And that negator Swarupa is Brahman. That's how Brahman is arrived at. So, nacha nishedha avaditvam na brahmana kwapi drishyate iti vachyam. But now what the Purva Pakshi says, no, we don't accept that Brahman is nishedha avadhi. Means Brahman is the one which is left out after negating everything. We don't accept that, they say. But even there what? Again, he is quoting our Bhagavata. Nisheda Sheshaha Jayatat Asheshaha iti Bhagavate Darshana. So in the these things are all coming from the 8th canto, 3rd chapter, which is Gajendra Moksha. You can go and refer. Interesting, in fact, initially. So there, in the Gajendra Moksha chapter, this Bhagavan is talked about, and everything is negated. Okay, na deva suraha, na stri, na puman, like that. Not any other beings, Tiryak, Manushya, etc. And na san, na asan also. In fact, he quotes the same thing again later also. Nayam gunaha karma nasan nacha asan iti. So like this, all these thorough negation is done of everything, in fact. And then it says finally what? Nisheda asheshaha, jayatat asheshaha means, Niteja sheshaha, jayatat asheshaha means this Bhagavan Brahman is the one who is there after everything has been negated, and that is the one which shines as everything also, in fact. Correct. Jayatat Ashesha. Bhagavan alone is shining or excelling or whatever. His glory is that all these things are nothing but the glory of Bhagavan. And once you negate all these Maya Jagat itself, entire Maya Jagat, what is left is only Bhagavan, Brahman, Param Brahma. So this is said in Bhagavata in the Gajendra Moksha chapter. Tasmat yadi Brahma kasyachit dharma dharmi va bhavet tarhi dharma dharma bhava nishedena brahmana api nishedaha eva syat न तो निषेध शेषत्वम इति कृत्वा न ब्रह्म धर्मः नापि धर्मी किंतु निर्विशेषमेव. So if you still say that Brahman or Paramatma also is a dharmi or a dharma, etc., but then how can you understand all these vakyas? Because here the entire, all the dharmas and dharmi also, okay, they are all negated. Dharma, dharmi bhava nishedena. If you say that Brahman is a dharmi or a dharma, then Brahman also will get negated by this, correct? Brahmanaha api nishedaha eva syat, natu nisheda sheshatvam. So Brahman cannot be the one which is left out after negating everything. If you say that Brahman is having, or Brahman is either a dharmi or a dharma, correct? Brahman also will get negated. Therefore, what? Therefore, based on this negation itself, which is very thorough, we have to say that Brahman is neither a dharma nor a dharmi. It is only nirvishesha vastu. So, nirvishesha Vastu, you have to accept it is an entity which is devoid of all qualities. And it is neither a qualified nor a quality. And in fact, he's again quoting the end portion of the same Vakya or the verse only is that previously quoted, correct? Nisheda Sheshaha, Jetat Asheshaha. It is in that it is there. Nayam Gunaha Karma Nasan Nacha Asan, like this. So he's again quoting only one small portion there. It is neither guna nor any karma, neither, and it is also neither murta nor amurta, correct? It is, because here sat asat. In fact, even in Gita also, Bhagavan says, correct? Nasat tanna saduchyate, like that, in the 13th chapter. So even in that Bhashya, Bhashyakara says, Brahman is neither available as a pramana gamya, he says. You cannot know it as existing using a pramana, nor as not existing using some pramana, correct? Or neither it is cognizable nor it is not cognizable, like this. So basically, it is not an object, okay? Object of cognition, it is not. So nasat, nacha asat, okay? It is neither sat nor asat. Means here sat is, you have to say vyakta, that which is manifest. Asat is unmanifest. Or sat is vyakrita, differentiated. Asat is undifferentiated. Or sat is karya, asat is karana. Like this, it is neither karya nor karana. Nor vyakta nor avyakta. Or neither it is avyakrita or vyakrita. All these things. So none of the qualities which you talk about, none of that Brahman can have. This is said very clearly. Iti Bhagavate Proktam Vyasena. So Vyasa has said this very clearly in the Bhagavata. So yadi tu Brahma savishesham tarhi tenaiva visheshena Brahmanaha ब्रह्मणः सुवचत्वात् नेति नेति इति श्रुत्या नैव प्रतिपाद्येत निषेधमुखेन ब्रह्म. Okay, another point he is saying very interesting. What he is saying is, if Brahman is really Savishesha, then it can be shown, correct, as Ittam Bhavati, correct? With this Vishesha, it is there like this. In fact, in the Brihadaranyaka, exactly the same thing that Yajnavalkya is having his conversation with all the Brahmanas, correct? In the 3rd chapter, there it is asked, why cannot you, why are you answering that it is like it is the eye of the eye, prana of the prana, like that only he tells. Yajnavalkya, because it's Sakshat, Aparokshat, Brahma, you now tell me what is that he is asking the question. Then Yajnavalkya says, it is prana of prana, eye of the eye, ear of the ear, something like that, like in Kenopanishad. Then he comes back and asks, why can't you tell me like it is like this cow or anything like that? you, if I ask you what is a cow, you can say this is the cow, correct? Like showing sasanadimatvam, etc., and saying that this is the cow with this particular visheshana. Why are you not teaching me Brahman like that? Correct? Then Yajnavalkya has to say, because it is divided of all these guna, kriya, etc. Correct? Jati, guna, kriya, sambandha. Only these 4 words can reveal directly. And Brahman is devoid of all these things. So then how do you even reveal this vastu? Then means you have to reveal it only by negation. And whatever is left out after negation, that need not be revealed by any word or anything. Understand? Because it is Suprakasha, Swayam Jyotihi, Swatasiddha vastu, which is Atma. So he is pointing out, if Brahman is really Savishesha, by using that Vishesha only, Brahman has to have been revealed, correct? And it should be easily revealed also. It could have been easily revealed. Brahmanaha Suvachatvat. Brahman will become Suvacha. Means it is something which can be revealed as the direct meaning of a particular word. Then why should Shruti use all this? Why is it with so much difficulty it is revealing? Using Neti Neti or Adhyaropa Apavada and all we have to do, correct? Only by doing Adhyaropa and Apavada, we can reveal. Because Adhyaropa Apavada is the basic prakriya. So why should Shruti use Adhyaropa Apavada? Neti neti iti Shrutya naiva pratipadyate. Shruti will not be doing all these things then. Correct? That too using Nisheda by negation, by Apavada. Only it is revealing. Okay. So, if what you say is true, Shruti need not take all these pains. And in fact, Shruti explicitly says another thing. What? Atayeva yato vacho nivartante apraapya manasa saha iti manova agocharatvam shruyate. Also what? If Brahman is Savisesha, then it will be Manovag Gochara. But Shruti is very clearly pointing out that Brahman cannot be the direct meaning of any one word, nor it can be objectified by the mind. It is not an object of cognition. That is the main thing about Brahman. Correct? So it is Manovag Agochara. It cannot be objectified either by a word nor by your mind, because it is the one which is making the mind function as mind. It is the one which is making all your sense organs function as themselves. It is the one which knows whether your sense organs are operating or not, whether your mind is thinking or not. All that is known to Brahman. That Brahman itself can never be objectified by all these things. Correct? Even though it is separate from all this body mind sense complex, the body mind sense complex is incapable of objectifying this Brahman. Therefore, what? Idam itam itihi savishesham vastu manasa vetum vacha vaktum cha shakyate eva. So he is pointing out again. See, you can, if Brahman is really savishesha, it is this, and it is in this manner, like this, one should be able to point out with words, correct? And also one should be able to objectify it through mind and know it. It should be possible. But nirvishesham tu vastu katham idam itam iti vaktum shakyate. But the nirvishesha atma, how can you point it out as this, or it is like this, etc.? It can never be done. That is why Adhyaropa Apavada has to be used. Therefore, what? Atayeva avachane naiva provacha iti shruyate. Even Shruti is saying avachane naiva provacha. This looks like a contradiction, but then that's how one can teach, correct? You have to, the teaching this itself is Ascharya, that's why. Bhagavan says, and even in Kathopanishad also it is said, correct? This Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam Ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanya. Ascharyavat chainam anya shrinoti. So it's all an Ascharya, because we have to reveal to you through words only that which is not the meaning of any one word. In fact, it is the meaning of all words we have to say. So what if I say like that, it will look like contradiction, but beyond that contradiction, you have to understand that, correct? By transcending all these contradictions only, you have to understand Brahman. So it is not the direct meaning of any one word. In fact, if it becomes the direct meaning of any one word, by that it will become limited also. It cannot be Ananta anymore, because it is now restricted to being only one object, correct? So, Tasmat Maya Maya Sarva Vishesha Nisheda Avadibhutam Brahma Nirvisheshameva. Therefore, what? He is concluding the all the Visheshas which are Maya Maya only, which is all Maya, which is Mithya, which is all false, by negating them, whatever is left, Avadi Bhutam Brahma, that is Brahman, and that itself is Nirvishesha, Nishkriya, correct? All this, whatever it is Nirakara, Nirguna, all these things, all these words only we can use with reference to Brahman. Nacha Maya Maya Vishesha Abhavepi Swabhavike Visheshaha Santi iti Vachyam. Okay, now they also may accept that Maya Maya Visheshas are negated, but they are still holding on. What? You can say that all these Maya Maya Visheshas are gone, that is fine. But what about the Swabhavika Vishesha, they are saying? The qualities which are its own nature, correct? One's own nature, Swabhavika Visheshaha Santi, even because Satyam Jnanam Anantam are only Visheshas for them. So they still hold on that Satyatvam, Jnanatvam, Anantatvam and all is there in Brahman. So Swabhavika Visheshaha Santi iti Vachyam. Why? Mayaya eva Brahmanaha Savisheshatvam Swatastu Nirvisheshameva Brahmeti Siddhanta. So Brahman itself is Savishesha. Only due to Maya, only from the standpoint of the Srishti, we have to say Brahman is Savishesha. But by itself, from its own standpoint, it is Nirvishesha. It doesn't have any Visheshana. So that is the Siddhanta. Of course, our Siddhanta, they need not accept, correct? So next he is going into that. Nanu sarvadhapi satye nitye jnane anande anante cha brahmani satyatvam nityatvam jnanatvam anandatvam anantatvam cha iti visheshaha swabhavikaha vartante eva. So now this, in fact, there is a big Purva Paksha is there. The whole paragraph, I think, is a big Purva Paksha. From their standpoint, they are saying all this Satya, Nitya, Jnana, Ananda, Ananta, etc. are all Swabhavika Visheshas. Therefore, Brahman is Savishesha only. And Satyatvam cannot be Maya Maya, he is saying. Okay. So, like this, there is a argument. Okay, that we will see the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Dhanyawada, Guruji.
Ah,
So tomorrow we have class, Guruji.